Hello everyone. In this video, we will be discussing on the comparison of 8085 and 8086 microprocessor. We will try to complete the discussion on how the differences are being brought up in 8085 and 8086 microprocessor. What are the differences and how these differences can be shown over here? That would be discussed in this video. So before we start with the comparison, first of all, what you will be gaining of this objective of this lecture is that the students will be helping. This lecture will help the students to gain knowledge in the differences in 8085 and 8086 microprocessor. So over here, I will be going on an overview of 8085 and 8086 microprocessor architecture overview, and that overview will give you the clear differences between 8085 and 8086 microprocessor. So first of all, 8085 and 8086 microprocessor, both these microprocessors are of Intel Corporation. These microprocessors are developed by Intel Corporation. These microprocessors are developed by Intel Corporation. And it was around 1970s to 18 in between this one, both these microprocessors are developed. The first, out of these two microprocessors, the first one is the 8085 microprocessor and the second one is 8086 microprocessor. It was nearly in 1972, it was developed, and it was in 1973 to 74, this microprocessor was developed. So out of these two microprocessors, the major difference between these two microprocessors is about the size of the microprocessor. And I agree on most important parameter we need to discuss is that microprocessor is defined by its bit size. So in terms of the size of the bit, like 16-bit microprocessor, 8-bit microprocessor, 32-bit microprocessor, 4-bit microprocessors, like that way, the microprocessor is being defined. So 8085 is an 8-bit microprocessor, 8086 is an 16-bit microprocessor. So what it actually a 16-bit or 8-bit microprocessor means. So in your microprocessor, the major part of an microprocessor would be ALU. ALU stands for Arithmetic and Logic Unit. Arithmetic and Logic Unit will do all the arithmetic and logical operations of a microprocessor. So when you are defining an 8-bit microprocessor, ALU is of 8-bit. And when you are defining a 16-bit microprocessor, ALU is of 16-bit. 16-bit ALU and 8-bit ALU. So when you go for 8-bit ALU, all the arithmetic and logical operations would be of 8-bit. When you go for 16-bit of ALU, all the arithmetic and logical operations would be of 16-bit. When you have a 16-bit ALU, 8-bit operations, maybe it will be carried out along with this one. You will be carrying out this. So the ALU is of this one, and related to that one, the supporting registers and everything would be of 16-bit. 16-bit or more than 16-bit would be possible. But here we don't have an 16-bit registers over there. We'll be having all the registers are supporting components of it. The next one over here, coming to the next difference about this one is that, and one important thing you need to know is that in a microprocessor, you will be having three buses. Bus is nothing but bunch of wires which is used to send or receive information. So you will be having three buses. One is address bus. Second one is data bus. Third one is control bus. So these three buses are used for different operations. So in your 8085 microprocessor, and the buses are used like address bus is there. Address bus is used to convey the address where you need to fetch the data, where you need to put the data. That is used for the address bus. Coming to the address bus of 8085 and 8086. Here, address bus is 16-bit, address bus is 20-bit. Now, what is the difference when you are having a different address bus? Now, let's say over here, each memory location, I mean to say each bit of this one is represented by binary number. Binary number takes 0 or 1. So, when you had a 16-bit address bus, you can address up to 2416, which is equal to 64 KB of memory. Likewise, when you are having a 20-bit address bus, you can address up to 2 power 20, which is equal to 1 MB of memory. Each memory location is of 1 byte. So, in each memory location, a byte data is being stored. So, you can have 16 memory locations can be addressed using a 16-bit address bus. And when you are having 20-bit address bus, you can address up to 2,000. So the factor which it is being increased is nothing but 2 power 4 factor, which is nothing but 16 times it is more when compared to 80. So this memory of 8086 is 16 times more to which 8085. And next one is that in 8085, you will be having 8-bit data bus. Here you will be having 16-bit data bus. Both these data bus are multiplex. Multiplex means these are being used the same. Here in your one bus would be there, which is of 20-bit bus would be there. Now this bus, out of this 20-bit address bus, it would be used for the address. And out of these 20, 16 bits are used for sending out the data. At one time it is used for the address, the other time it is used for data. 16 bit. The core of the system. Similarly, when you go for address bus of 8085, it is 16 bit. So when out of these 16 bit, 8 bits are multiplex, mean to say it are defined as address and data. 8 is 0 to 8 is 7. Here, address and data buses are from 8 is 0 to 8 is 8 address. These two are multiplex. The next feature of the difference between the architecture of 8085 and 8086 is the about the flag register. As you know that 8085 is an 8-bit microprocessor, you are having 8-bit flag register. When 8 bits. Out of the 8 bits of your microprocessor flags, you are defined only 5 flags. What are those flags? Carry flag, sign flag, zero flag, parity flag, auxiliary carry flag. These are the 5 flags. These 5 flags are all conditional control flags. These 5 flags are same these lower 8 bits of the 16-bit flag register. 8086 has 16-bit flag register and 8085 has 8-bit flag register. So out of these 16 bits, lower 8 bits are same as the 8085. The higher 8 bits will consist of one conditional control flag. All these are called conditional control flag. All these 5 flags will be there. 5 is one more flag which is nothing but the old flag over there, which is conditional control. And additional to that one, you would be having directional flag, track flag, and interrupt flag. These are the 3 machine control flags. Like track flag is for single step execution, interrupt flag is for passing on interrupts, and then you are having another direction flag. Direction flag was setting a microprocessor in auto incrementing and auto decrementing using of string instruction. So these are the 3 additional flags and one more conditional control flag. Totally 4 flags are additional flags in your 8086 when compared to 8085. Next one, 8085 has 8-bit general purpose registers. 8-bit general purpose registers. How many? 6 general purpose registers are available over here. What are those? B, C, D, E, H, L. So we have continuously like B, C, D, E, H, L. And why giving a comma over here is that now this B, C can sometimes, when you are required for 16-bit, you can combine this one in this order. B and C can be combined as a 16-bit. D and E can be combined as a 16-bit. H and L are combined as a 16-bit. Separately, they can be an 8-bit register. This one over here in your 8086, we are having 4 16-bit registers, general purpose registers. General purpose. AX, BX, CX, and DX. These are the 4 general purpose registers in your 8088. AX, BX, CX, and DX. And next one, when you go for other general purpose registers, you are having these 16-bit registers are also can be used as 8-bit registers like ALAH, BLBH, CLCH, PLDH. They can be used as an 8-bit registers or SIGA system. In addition to these registers, some of more registers are there, that is nothing but program counter and stack pointer. These two are 16-bit registers. Some temporary registers are there in here. 8085, that Dep2 and Z, these two are temporary registers. And in addition to this one, in your 808 86, we'll have very much lengthy set of registers. We'll have a separate topic in register organization of 8086. In this one, you will be having index registers, pointer registers, and segment registers. Obviously, the flag registers and all these general purpose registers. All these registers will comprise of a very beautiful register organization in 8086. Coming to the power supply requirement and what is the operating frequency of this microprocessor. 8085 operates with 5 watts of power supply. The same thing is for 8086. They have the same power supply, but the operating frequencies are different. 8085 operates to a maximum of 3 to 5 megahertz, whereas for the 8086 it operates 5 to 10 megahertz. Some microprocessors should be of 10 megahertz, some microprocessors should be of 10 megahertz. This operating frequency of 8086 is 5 to 10. And one additional feature which is not there in your 8086, which is not in 8085, which makes 8086 so free, is nothing but instruction prefetch tool. This is an 6-byte instruction prefetch tool, which is used to store the data temporarily into the memory, and whenever you require, you will refer to this memory every time. So this is about the total differences of a 8085 and 8086 architecture, how the differences are there in these architectures. In addition to that, one more thing I want to tell you, in your 8086, there are two functional units divided, like bus interface unit and execution unit. But in your 8085, the total architecture is a single one. So we'll have in detail about the architecture of 8086 in the next videos. Thank you. Over here, I hope by this video you are able to list out the differences between 8085 and 8086 microprocessor. Thank you, everyone.